and I don't want to say as far as this because I don't think it's as deep as this, but it's kind of like pausing the whole division or mortgaging the whole division just based on Toni Storm and Mercedes Mone. Well, we all assumed it was going to happen. We thought, could AEW just do something a bit different here? But no, it is the biggest match that they could put on in the women's division. It will be Mercedes Mone, the TBS champion, going up against Toni Storm, the AEW Women's World Champion, at All In for that AEW Women's World Championship. Biggest match they could put on, without doubt. Like, without doubt. Like, Mercedes Mone, Jamie Hayter, the tournament final on All In. Great match. Great match. Like, that match had my full attention. It had my full attention. Again, the intrigue of, will they do it? Will Mercedes Mone go and win this Owen tournament and go on to All In? And they did it. Now, I'm sure you can see the title of this video. And my thing was like, okay, I understand this is the biggest match that AEW could do, right? But where does that kind of leave the rest of the women's division? I thought, you know, if we could do a booking such as Jamie Hayter actually wins the Owen tournament, you get Toni Storm versus Jamie Hayter for the women's world title, and Jamie Hayter wins it. Eventually, when Mercedes is going to win the world title, she beats Jamie Hayter and Mercedes gets her win back there. You know, I thought we could maybe do something like that because I thought that would leave Mercedes available to do a TBS title match at All In against maybe Athena, someone like that. And, you know, we can just do some other stuff, you know. Granted, they've gone for the biggest match they can put on in that women's division, which I completely understand. I do not resent them for. I get it. But it's just the what if. What if we went with something different? Mercedes Mone has been undefeated in singles competition since she joined AEW. Fantastic feat. And, you know, I've said on this channel before, she has grown. She has grown since she debuted. And I know when she debuted and, you know, had her first match and stuff like that, she was coming off the back of a pretty serious injury. Now, she's got rid of the ring rust and all of that kind of stuff. Mercedes Mone is her dazzling best right now. I just feel like, though, are we pushing forward the rest of this division? Toni Storm has done some fantastic work and really carried this championship and this division, you know, over the last kind of year to 18 months. Her and Mercedes Mone and Toni Storm as well, I'll say, deserves this big match. She deserves her name on the marquee alongside someone like Mercedes Mone. 100%. For the work she's done alone in the last 18 months, she deserves that. Maybe the line of thought is that, you know, let's us build to the biggest women's match we can do here and we'll figure it out with the rest of the division. You know, right now we have to put these women on a pedestal. And an interesting question will be, is Mercedes Mone going to walk into All In still the TBS champion? Like, should she lose before this match? Should she drop that title before this match? And even if they do it in a multi-woman match kind of situation, it's still a loss, I guess. Like, I don't know what you do now. Do you make Mercedes Mone do double duty at All In? Do you give her Athena in, you know, somewhere lower down on the card or something like that, the opener or something like that, and we get Athena versus Mercedes Mone for the TBS championship and Athena wins? And Mercedes Mone has to walk into the world championship match a broken woman, a tired woman, maybe an injured woman, before she goes to face Toni Storm. Now, I'm sure we will probably all assume Mercedes Mone is going to beat Toni Storm. I think I'm okay in saying that without everyone going mad. If you think any different, let me know down below in the comments. But I do think Mercedes Mone is going to win the world title. But that's the question. Does she win it as the TBS champion? I don't know. I don't know how we do this now because we've sent the mid-card champion into a world title match that she should probably win, that she's probably the favorite to win. So over the next 6 weeks, is it a case of, you know, she drops that TBS title along the way, she drops it on the night of All In? Be very interesting. But this is it. We are now kind of, and I don't want to say as far as this because I don't think it's as deep as this, but it's kind of like pausing the whole division or mortgaging the whole division just based on Toni Storm and Mercedes Mone. So it's a difficult place to be in, but biggest show in America, they have to put on their biggest match. They have to. So like I say, I completely get it, but it's just the what ifs, you know. Jamie Hayter, I think we've done a decent job in rehabbing her. She returned last year at All In on the pre-show, which I was furious about, because why are you bringing back one of your best former world champions, women's world champions, on the pre-show? And I know she had a whole angle with Saraya or whatever, but give it a break. You could have done that on the main show. You could have done that on the main show. I don't know why they brought back Jamie Hayter there. They gave her a long road back, and the long road back to where she was in Outer Wings final includes, you know, other kind of factors outside of AEW, like visa issues. She got that sorted. She found herself in Owen tournament final, and I thought she was really, really good. Didn't get the job done on the night. Mercedes Mone won the tournament. Another notch on this dazzling CV that she's, you know, acquiring post WWE. Like an absolutely fantastic CV, what she's putting together. And like I said, now she goes into All In to win the AEW Women's World Championship, but at what cost to the rest of the AEW Women's division? It's very, very interesting. I think it's just very, very interesting how we're gonna kind of book this over the next 6 weeks, especially in both of these women, in Mercedes and Toni Storm. When you look at it, Toni Storm is mega out there with obviously the character, and if not wrestling matches every week, she's cutting promos out there in front of fans every week. And we haven't seen that with Mercedes. They've been protecting her. They've given her a lot of Renee Paquette backstage interviews and stuff like that. Of course, she had the in-ring segment with Renee and Jamie Hayter just before the tournament final this past week on Dynamite. But Mercedes is going to have to kind of come out of the backstage area and come into the middle of the ring, and she's going to have to do the dance with Toni Storm. Over the next 6 weeks, she's really going to have to bring her good form to the mic to last with Toni Storm, because Toni Storm and her puns and her jokes and her wittiness is going to be hard to, you know, just keep reverting back to this CEO stuff. Like, I'm the CEO, I'm the boss, and this and that. Like, they're going to have to really put together some really strong level of story, and something that Mercedes doesn't drown with, because I'm not one of the super critical people that Mercedes can't cut a promo and this, that, and the other. I know that's what a lot of people say, but she's not the best. She's not the best, I can say that, you know, but I'm not super critical of her. But Toni Storm has developed into one of the best and most entertaining. They've got to tell this story. They've got to find a way. So it's going to be super, super interesting. Did Mercedes Mone need to win the Owen Cup to put on the biggest match in AEW women's history on the biggest stage in America? Yes, that's how she got there. You know, like, yes, she needed to win in that aspect. But if you're looking at the bigger picture, for the rest of the division, maybe this wasn't the best choice. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. I am kind of split. I don't think she should have won. Like, if I booked it, I wouldn't have made her win. And I would have said, you know, done what I said in terms of Jamie Hayter winning the world title and Mercedes Mone eventually beating Hayter. But I get it. Let me know what you think in the comments.